Welcome back to Bachelor Happy Hour. I'm Joe.
And I'm Serena.
And we are here today with Nicolle. Nicolle, welcome to Bachelor Happy Hour.
Thanks for having me, you guys. Nice to meet you, and let's go for it.
Yeah, you before we started recording, you mentioned that you're from Chicago?
I am. I mean, I'm kind of a New Yorker, but I did grow up in the Midwest in Illinois and then lived in Chicago. So yeah.
What part, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Champaign-Urbana. My dad was a university.
Okay.
So, but after that, moved to Chicago and lived in Lincoln Park, where my kids, eventually went to high school, and then lived downtown.
Oh, nice. Wow, yeah. So I'm from Melrose Park, but I did live in Lincoln Park for a year.
Yeah.
And then I lived in like the West
Lincoln
Loop.
Park.
Yeah, the West Loop area I lived for a
That's
while.
cool. I like the West Loop. Yeah. I
And-
lived right downtown at Lakeshore Drive in Walton.
Okay.
And I loved that location. I just love being down there.
Nice.
Where are you now?
Now I'm in Miami.
Oh,
I moved to Miami full time about 3.5 years ago. So yeah, Miami Beach.
What brought you there?
My second husband, actually, from New York. We were living in New York, and we decided to, get a place here. And then COVID happened, and then a divorce happened, and I stayed because I love Miami. So yeah.
Yeah, we're in New York now, and the winters definitely make Miami sound appealing.
Yeah, the winters are hard in New York, and I was working when I was living there too. Just literally for 1 year, but the commute just to work in the blizzards and the cold just about did me in. It's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago's worse than all of them, for sure.
Which is why I can't live there anymore.
Yeah.
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 Where do your kids live?
They both live in Chicago. They're both married and they both live in Chicago. And I mean, look, they're young and they're hardy. They can make it through the winter, but I can't.
What did your kids think of you going on The Golden Bachelor?
Well, they were so supportive. My daughter, especially, she's been watching The Bachelor forever, and I hadn't watched it, and I hadn't even watched the Golden season 1. So she flew into Miami, and together we binged Golden Bachelor, Golden Bachelorette. This was before I was cast, but in the process. And she, she schooled me on all things The Bachelor. So it was very helpful.
What else did you do to prepare for the show?
Well, how did you get on?
Yeah, well, I'll answer both of those. I got on because I'm a yoga instructor, but I'm just also I practice yoga almost every day. And my yoga friends at the studio where I go usually, they kind of circled me one day and said, we think that you would be absolutely perfect for the Golden Bachelor. And I said, oh my gosh, I have to find out what that even is. And then I said, well, and they said, we're going to sign you up. And I said, no, please don't do that. Let me go research it. And if it looks good, I'll do it. And they were kind of like, well, if you don't in a week, we're signing you up. So we're going to submit your application. But it looked really good. Of course, I knew what the Bachelor's, franchise was. I just hadn't really watched much of it. But yeah, and I thought, you know what? I am uniquely qualified for this. I'm going to do this. And so I sent in the application, and then I got a call. Yeah.
You said that you felt you were uniquely qualified for the show. How so?
Yeah, I think for one thing, I've had 2 marriages and 2 divorces and other love relationships. And I feel like I've gotten to know myself really well, first of all, in relationship. And I think I've learned a lot about how to be in a relationship and to really be in a conscious, deep relationship. And I also think I'm uniquely qualified because I think I just, I have a bubbly personality. I'm not shy. I go for it in life. And, I don't know, I'd like to, I really wanted to find love genuinely, but I also knew that only one of the bachelorettes would, you know, take his heart.
Yeah.
So the rest of us would gain amazing friendships. I knew that would happen, and it did. And I just thought I was suitable for that kind of experience. I did well. Emotionally, I was happy, stable, in my element, most of the time. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
What marriage lasted longer, your first one or your second one?
Oh,
And your
the
kids
first.
Are they your kids are from your first marriage?
Yeah, that was a
Okay.
30-year relationship. Yeah, that
Oh,
was
okay.
a long one. And yeah, both of my children are from my first husband. But
30
my
years. How old were you when you got married the first
Well,
time?
we met at 19 and I got
Okay.
married at 23. So
Okay.
yeah. And then my second husband, we were together for 10 years. So it was not short either, and it was meaningful.
Hmm.
So just we were out of alignment in some ways, I think. So just
Do you mind me asking, but do you get along with both your exes?
I have the most wonderful relationship with both of them.
Oh, that's great.
That's amazing.
I love them both, and they're both wonderful men. And I feel very, very grateful to have such a close, relationship with both of them, especially the second, especially the second. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you find out you're getting on the show. How
Yes.
are you feeling? What's going through your mind?
I knew I was manifesting getting on the show. It doesn't mean that it was going to happen, but I really manifested it. I really called that.
That makes sense. You do yoga, you manifest.
I manifest.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I have to be at that vibrational frequency. So that's a match. So it can be a frequency match. And I really felt like I was. And I envisioned it from the very beginning. I envisioned not just the process of getting the call that I was going to be cast, but I just envisioned the whole experience. And it wasn't too different from how I envisioned it, actually. I mean, it's like nothing I've ever experienced, but at the same time, in terms of how I felt or how I wanted to approach it, it wasn't too different. But yeah, I manifested that. And so when I got the call, I was actually on a flight. And she said, "Can you call me?" She texted, "I'm trying to call you." And I said, "I'm actually on a flight. Can I call you when I land?" And she said, "Yes." And then I was so tired. I texted, "Can we just talk tomorrow?" Because I didn't know if it was really that call. And she said, "No." And then she called me, and I was in an Uber on the way home, and I was like, like that. So I was very excited, but I really felt like I was calling that in, that I had
Yeah.
called. Yeah.
Was there anything that you were nervous about going on the show?
Not really. I think I'm not a drama girl, and really didn't want to ruffle feathers.
Would you consider Mel your type if you have a type?
No, no, he's not my
No.
typical type, actually. But he was so hot that he became my type for a
Okay.
minute. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
What is your type,
What
would
a
you
great
say?
body. I mean, how can he not be your type? I'm sorry, what was the question, honey?
What is your typical type?
My typical type is, well, I've had so many different. I've had two different husbands. They were very different. I've had different relationships, and they were all different. But I would say my typical type is definitely tall, which was Mel. I mean, I have an avatar for sure, and a bit more, maybe I would say intellectual than Mel. Not that he wasn't really bright. He's super smart and
Mhm.
impressed me, but more intellectual, like wears glasses, maybe, that kind of
So
guy.
looks intellectual.
Like a little bit of a dorky vibe.
I love a nerd. I love
Okay.
a nerd. Yeah, yeah, I do. But also, handsome, but a nerd and fit, which Mel was also. He's just a lot bigger. I usually, tall and sort of slim, really, really, really slim, is my typical type. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That intellectual, sort of slightly arty looking guy, but really he's in finance or economics or something.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you. I'm following.
How about age for you? Was that a factor at all?
I don't like younger guys. I'm not that kind of girl, that wants to be with somebody young. I like men my age. So, I love a guy that's age starts with a 6,
Okay.
but a 5 is okay too. I like
Yeah.
young men, and what I find is that so many men, I don't know if I want to say most, but once they are over 55, they start to really look old. And their body, I'm not old, so I don't want an old looking guy, I want a young
Yeah,
guy.
that's fair.
A young for their age, but I also want someone age appropriate. Yeah.
I get it. You want a hot 60-year-old.
I want a hot 60-year-old.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I do. I do. Because I like to be able to share our music, our generation. I don't want a 45-year-old at all. No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Plus, my own son is 38. Like, it's not, no.
You don't want one of his friends.
30, he's 37. I'm sorry, what?
I said you don't want one of his friends.
I do not want one of his friends. No. I want an established gentleman. Yes.
relaxing. Charges, no nickel and dime.
Without you by my side.
Should feel for it. Explanon doesn't protect
Your chance to win and get
free, all from home. My
legs are smooth all the time. It is the absolute best. And Ideal Image is celebrating their birthday month with amazing specials on laser hair removal. Idealimage.com or text IDEAL to 38089. That's text IDEAL to 38089 and book your free consultation today.
How often do you do yoga?
Almost every day.
Okay.
Almost every day. Yeah. I believe in it for mind, body, spirit so much. I think it keeps you limber, it keeps you mobile, keeps your brain clear. Spiritually, it keeps you centered. I think it's like therapy. I think yoga saves. Yeah.
What do you eat?
Oh, well, if you ask Mel, this is one of our jokes. If you ask Mel, he would say, I eat potatoes, salad, an apple, and air. So I said to him, well, I think I said something like, yeah, I'm a breatharian. I just, I am a vegan. So I eat a plant-based. I've been vegan for about 19 years. I have, since I've been in my 60s, added in a little bit of salmon because the research is showing that is beneficial. I'm not a vegan just because I think that, to be a hardcore vegan. I'm not that kind of person. I think that vegans get kind of a bad rap. That joke, how do you know if there's a vegan in the room? They'll tell you,
Yeah.
So I'm not,
Same thing with marathon runners.
Yeah, I'm at fault for that. But ultimately, I do think it's humane and, I believe in animal welfare and I believe in the health of the planet and my own body. But I have read the research from longevity experts and I follow a lot of scientists. That's really my type. Like I love scientists. I love doctors and scientists who are into longevity, biohacking people. But and that seems to be what the research says. So I eat a little salmon.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's jump to night one. You step out of the limo. You meet Mel for the first time. How are you feeling? What's your first impression of him?
Well, I told myself when I step out of the limo, put both feet on the ground, take a breath, just to enjoy that second before it all really starts. And I did that. And I remember absolutely nothing after that. I don't know what happened. I was so calm and together. And then I got nervous. I really, truly barely remember meeting the man. So that's the truth. So I had a football that I was throwing to him and I just wanted to make sure, that I could throw the football properly because, I don't know how to throw a football, but he caught it and it didn't go haywire. So that was good. And I really don't remember it. I remember blowing him a kiss and saying, I'm going to go in, come find me, or I'll come and intercept you. That's what I remember saying.
I like it.
That's good.
I
That's
like
smart.
it.
Yeah, I like
But
that.
that's about it. Yeah.
And how did that first night go with Mel and the ladies?
Oh, it was a magical night. He came in and addressed us about the podcast, his podcast remarks, and that's the first thing he did. And he was very, very genuine and very heartfelt, and it felt really good to see him so vulnerable and humbled and asked for forgiveness and for him for us to allow him to earn it back. And that was a really great way to start. I went and grabbed him and said, I'm going to run some interference here. And I grabbed him and took him outside so we could have a little one-on-one. And it was great because then I had done the limo, I had my one-on-one, and the rest of the night, I could spend getting to know the other women and just relax.
So that is the best when you're like, you get it out of the way and then you're like, all right, it's out of my hands now. I had my time, we chatted, and now I can just have a drink and chat with the ladies.
And I just got to relax when everybody else was like, when's my one-on-one going to be? And kind of nervous, and I got to relax. So I was very grateful for that. But I am one to jump in and just make things happen. So
Mel does, we do see at the top of the show, he apologizes for what he said on the podcast. But being one of the women who is casting on his season, going on to the season, and you hearing those remarks, did it bother you?
It bothered me a lot. I really wanted them to replace him at first. My impression was, he's got to be replaced because this is just a bad feeling. It was just I kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, so to speak. And I didn't think that would be good. But then, when they didn't replace him, I thought, okay, you know what? We're just going to have to deal with it. But the apology was, as I said, so heartfelt and so humbling and his humanity really showed right off the top. You'll see it. And when I had my one-on-one with him, I said, thank you so much for that. It meant a lot, and we're good. So
Good. That's
nice.
good.
Yeah, I feel like he had to address it to you women right away. I think that was the best way to go about it, or it would have just been an elephant in the room.
Yeah, yeah, because there were other women that were still holding, onto that even more than I was. So yeah.
Which women did you find yourself gravitating towards, and which women did you become close with?
Yeah, I have really strong chemistry with people when we're, again, to speak in the yogi way, when we're on the same vibrational, frequency or alignment. So the people that I just instantly, there was a woman named Maya in my limo, and we just held hands, and we were like best friends in 5 minutes. She looked like Cindy Crawford. I loved her. And then I had a real, immediate chemistry with Carol, with Cindy, with Jerry, and others as well. And Roxy. There are so many that I loved, but those off the top of my head, yeah.
Were you surprised to see Maya go home?
Extremely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we were too.
was so surprised by the outcome of every single rose ceremony.
Were you?
Okay.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, we see episode. I was actually, I was shocked by the Maya.
How do you let Cindy Crawford go home? I mean, how do you do that?
And she lives right there. He lives in California. She lives in California. I was like,
exactly.
Yeah,
There's always one person night one that people are surprised by. I feel like
I was surprised by who stayed and who he sent home that night. But you know what? It's all about his chemistry with people. So it wasn't my show to choose, but it was just from observing it and being in it. I was very surprised every single rose ceremony.
Was it obvious to the ladies at all who he had strong connections with? Or
yes, I think so. Yeah, I think so. And I was one of them. And I think it really upset a lot of women.
Well, we do see a lot of the women some of the women get upset with you during the pool party because you make out with him in front of everyone.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that whole situation?
Yeah, I had a great time at the pool party. I looked around and it didn't look like anyone else was going to go. So I decided that it would be me. And so I jumped in the pool and said, made a little, some other joke with football pun about, whatever, intercepting. And then, I don't know what happened. We just had a lot of chemistry and attraction that was just really natural. And that makes it a lot of fun. So I was aware, though, that other women were starting to stare at me. And so when I got out of the pool, many of the other women I sensed, how you sense the energy, like, oh, cold. But, I wanted to balance it because I was new in the house. We were all new in the house. And I wanted to, I want to be liked. I want to make friends. So I didn't want to upset them too much. However, I will tell you, I could have cared less what they thought.
Okay.
And that's the nicest way I can say it.
Yeah.
So when the women we see a sit down chat. It looks like it might be like the next day even, where they're expressing their discomfort with how you were acting at the pool party. Yeah. You seem to kind of acknowledge their feelings, but
I did.
You definitely,
I placated it.
Yeah. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I did acknowledge their feelings. Their feelings are valid. I'm a health coach. I understand which is kind of like being a life coach, which is kind of like being a relationship coach because it's all mixed. So I like to listen and validate, and I wanted them to be comfortable. But ultimately, I didn't really give a shit. I really didn't. I was having fun. It's my journey. It's my story, and they should have theirs. And I honestly feel like they were just really jealous, but they didn't know how to do what I can do. And in this way, that's just one of my things. I know how to do that. And I know I'm good with people. I'm good with, interpersonal communication, and I'm confident enough to jump in a pool in a bikini and go up to The Bachelor,
Yeah.
and I think they didn't know quite how to do it. They
Do
weren't
you
comfortable.
would it have bothered you if someone else did it?
No, I would have
Yeah,
been,
I
more
sense
power
that.
to you.
Yeah, I sense that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, it wouldn't have bothered me at all. But interestingly enough, um, one of my biggest critics that day came to me, and so did two others. They actually came to me for advice. They just said, I feel like I'm not coming forward enough with my personality, with the things I really want to say to Mel. And they said, can you help me? And each one of them individually, I said, absolutely. What's your goal? Okay. And I said, I'm going to be Mel, and we're going to role play this until you get it down. And then we're gonna make sure that tonight you find a moment
What
to
was going on in this house?
and so we role played. I gave them their words that I thought they would be comfortable with, and they were, and all three of them did it. They all
Wow.
three did what I suggested. And I would even say, now's the moment. Now, go now. Go
Yeah.
now.
I mean, it's definitely you are put in a situation where you're lucky because you're a forward person. You go after what you want. But if
Yeah.
if you're not,
If you're
it's
not.
really hard to succeed in this
Yeah.
arena because you're competing against 30 people.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's one prize. And
There's
it's
one
like,
prize, and there's so little time.
Yeah.
There's so little time to make your mark, to make an impression, to try to make a connection. And yeah, you're right, Joe. So, and as a coach, I was really happy, and I was honored. I was flattered that they came to me. And I think they were really, my critics at the beginning. And I think in the end, they really respected and liked me. And that was important to me. But I was so happy to help them. We had Susan and Kathy when they came.
Yep.
So, Kathy, I had a one-on-one with Kathy. They were both fantastic, by the way. I love them. And Kathy said, what's going on? And it was just at the time when, I said, well, I think I'm being redeemed because women are coming to me in confidence to say, I need your help. And she said, well, Nicolle, that is really generous of you to guide them and give them, pointers and tips and make sure that they follow through to do it. She said, but you shouldn't do that. This is your story. Don't feel, that's your responsibility. And I said, I appreciate that advice. I will do that starting now, but I really didn't feel competitive. I felt like we all had something amazing to bring. They're all incredible women, with incredible talents, incredible skills, beauty, everything. But I felt like, I wasn't insecure about helping them. Let me put it that way. I didn't feel like it was giving me less of an edge or them more of that competitive edge.
Yeah.
I just felt like that's what you do with your sisters,
we see that you win the group date rose. It was the
roast.
comedy, the roast.
Yes, for the
yeah.
roast. For the roast.
But I want to talk about your conversation with Mel because you asked a question that Serena was dying for someone to ask.
What?
About his divorce.
I wasn't dying for someone to ask. I respected,
she respected
your
the fact that-
openness
yeah.
about your experiences with divorce. And I also respected that I felt like he was closed off and that wasn't deterring you from shying away from asking questions and having that conversation.
Yeah.
So do you feel when you did ask him about his divorce, was he closed off? And did he give you...
He is not, he's a man, and I don't think that, and I know that he's on a personal growth journey, and I know that he, is interested in expanding as a human, but he's at the beginning of that journey. And so he still has trouble, I think, at times fully expressing himself or feeling comfortable. So it was like the conversation, I tried to bring the conversation to the divorce, and he kept sort of going like this, and I kept this and this and this and this until I kept bringing it back and bringing it back. And he really did answer it was kind of a list of questions that led him down a path so he could share his story with me. And he did. Okay, and
good.
And I think he was vulnerable and honest with me. So, but it did take some, a lot of redirecting to get him there. Yeah.
Got it.
At
And
this
I understand.
point, in the show, we've just finished episode 3. We've seen your connection kind of grow, and you've had this one-on-one time with him now. How are you feeling about your relationship with Mel?
I was feeling great about it, actually. I mean, I was feeling like I was solidly in the front, I don't want to say the lead, but I was in the front section of women for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Who else do you put in that section?
Well, there were people in that section that I didn't understand that they were in there, but they were. But they were in there. So, but the people that I feel like had genuine chemistry with him, or that I thought that they actually went together, that they would make a good couple. I thought he and Carol made a lot of sense. She lives there. They're both into sports for careers, etc. I think Cindy was a cute. I think they had chemistry.
Debbie? Okay. Wow. All right.
I don't get it, but okay. I love Debbie.
Yeah.
I love Debbie. Love her. But I don't know.
All right.
Well, I think
no comment.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, I love.
I respect it.
I love your openness and your honesty, Nicolle. I really do.
And Jerry, I feel like Jerry, and he had a warmth that I really enjoyed watching.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more of her. I feel like we haven't gotten a ton of screen time from her yet.
Special. She's a very special human. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm so blessed to know her.
All right. Before we let you go, if you could tease what's coming for the rest of the season, what words would you use to describe it?
Oh, wow. Twists and turns.
A lot
time of my life on the show, time of my life, but some twists and turns and things that are unexpected. So you got to stay tuned.
Okay. Nicolle, thank you so much for coming on Bachelor Happy Hour. It was great getting to know you.
Welcome. It was fun, you guys.
Yeah,
you're great together, and you guys are very welcoming and warm and make it easy. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You made it easy too.
And to all our listeners, thank you guys for tuning in to Bachelor Happy Hour. Make sure you download and subscribe to the podcast.
We will have new and exclusive interviews for you every single week. Thanks for listening. Bye.